Oh, as the old saying goes, Keith, wake the kids, get the neighbors. This is an extravaganza you won't want to miss. Sixers pack in a whole lot of news all in one night, but the biggest story, Sixers get the win over the Celtics as Justin Edwards finally comes alive on the season. We'll break it all down and more in this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Locked On 76ers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And how about this? Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Not too shabby. And this particular episode is brought to you by none other than FanDuel, where new customers can place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app. He is Keith Pompey, been covering your 76ers for damn near a decade and a half. I'm Marc Farzetta, I've been talking sports with it for about 20 years in the city of brotherly love. Keith, Justin Edwards explodes, Joel Embiid provides a scare, and then it ends, I guess, better than a lot of people anticipated. And we actually get an update on Paul George. Let's start it off with that victory. I was starting to sweat in that fourth quarter, Keith. I thought we already had Yeah, go ahead, go.
No doubt. You were starting to sweat. I mean, and we'll talk about him later and more extensively, but I guess, Justin Edwards came to save the day. But here's the crazy thing, Mark. Like, we look at it and we look at the third quarter blunders, right? And you're saying to yourself, here they go again. And then you look around. I mean, dude, they shot the ball atrociously in the third quarter. And you look around and it's kind of like they're down by 8 points with 6 minutes and 15 seconds to play, right? And how they won the game is, Justin couldn't miss a shot and he finally misses one and Kelly Oubre gets the pick back to give them the 2-point victory. So it was like really exciting. But the crazy part is, Nick Nurse comes out and he says, hey, I'd rather be, and I'm paraphrasing now. Let me find the quote just so I don't butcher up. He said, I'd rather be a better fourth quarter team than a third quarter team. Fourth quarters are pretty damn good, but I'll keep working on it. We'll keep working on it, right? But the true serum came from Quentin Grimes, who basically said everything that everyone in Philly feels. It's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have, knowing how resilient you are as a team. But we know we don't want to be in this too many of those games coming into that third quarter. A team makes a run, then we have to fight and claw and scratch to get the lead back. But it's a testament to how hard we've been working as a team, how collected we are as a group in that locker room. So it kind of shows on the court with those crappy kind of late fourth quarter wins. But he's right. You don't want to keep doing this over and over and over again. I mean, you're going to have a heart attack. At least Nick Nurse might.
I like a couple of things I heard from last night. One was Grimes. One was Nick Nurse talking about rather be a good fourth quarter team than a good third quarter team and all that. And then he referenced the data. He was just like, well, I don't know what the data shows and all that, but up 10, down 10, see in the fourth quarter. Like he said something to that effect last night. And I was like, yeah, that's what it all comes down to. Go ahead and lose every quarter of the game, but you win the fourth quarter by enough, you win the game. That's the way sports works in a lot of sports, obviously. So I liked what I had to say. And then I do have to say this while we're talking about fourth quarter comments. Was Mama Edwards in the press conference last night? Was she?
Yeah, she was. Yes.
What happened with her? I heard she say something like, "I'm going to beat your ass" or something like that. What did she say to Justin?
Nah, it wasn't quite like. I mean, it was kind of like tongue in cheek. What it was is,
right.
She was there, and it was basically one of those things where he's like, yeah, if I say something, my mom's going to get on me, like basically using her as an out. And she played along with it greatly and was like, yep, that is true. Yeah, I'll get you. Everybody started laughing. But it was nice because, and he was like, yeah, y'all, this is my mom. And she's like, hey, how y'all doing? Everyone's like, hi. It was crazy. It was crazy though. But you felt you felt kind of happy for Justin. To be honest with you, that was the most talked that was the most talkative he's been in a while. Like normally you ask him questions, yes, no, maybe so. But on this night, he was good. He was a great quote. He was a great person. He answered, just about every question you had for him. So, that's all that you can ask for when it comes down to that. You know what I mean? He's a great kid.
Keith, look, I don't want to say we've been riding him because it's not like he's a star that we're like, come on, man, where's the 25? Where's the 30 points? No, it's not like that. But we watched him obviously towards the end of last year, and we both thought, okay, good for this guy getting his feet wet in the NBA, and he gets the contract from the Sixers, local guy. This is great, good for him. And then he goes out in Utah, leaves a lot to be desired in summer league. We're like, all right, just getting his feet wet again. Then he goes to Vegas, and we're like, all right, maybe he needs better players around him to fit more into that role player type of spot that he's used to. Not good in Vegas. Then he goes to Abu Dhabi. Not great. First 10 games of the season, far from great. Second quarter of yesterday's win over the Celtics, he starts to come alive. He has his own personal 9-0 run, I believe it was, in that second quarter. Then in the fourth quarter, as you alluded to, Sixers are at one point down 8 points. Mm-hmm. Everything looks like it's going to hell in a handbag. And all of a sudden, Justin Edwards explodes. He hits 3 threes in, I believe it was a minute and 18 seconds. Sixers go from down 8 to up 1. And as you mentioned, the only shot that he did miss, Kelly Oubre was right there, Johnny on the spot, gets the put back that puts the Sixers up 102 to 100. Kelly Oubre not only gets that, but he also gets the great defensive stop on the other end. Him and Andre Drummond come up huge in that situation. But there are moments where, especially you look at a guy like Justin Edwards, to go back to him. We've been talking about him since Summer League and waiting to see the Justin Edwards that we saw at the end of last year, something to show us that he's not in over his head at the NBA level. And when a guy like that your highest expectation is for him to be a role player, steps up to save a game, essentially, against the Boston Celtics, where you have an opportunity now to unfortunately drop back-to-back games, he steps up, delivers in a huge way, and then the team takes it the rest of the way to help finish off the Celtics. That is, you can't help but feel good for a guy when he finally has a game like this.
Yeah, you feel good for him. I mean, put it this way, he showed his worth. I mean, he showed that he can be someone that you can depend on, right? Because, I mean, let's keep it 100. He was struggling mightily before that, but he showed at that particular time that he can be someone that the 76ers couldn't depend on. The funny, not crazy, but after the game, Nick Nurse really praised him. I mean, really praised. I mean, to a point where you was like, "Come on, Nick! Really, dude? Okay, this is how you feel?" So Nurse said he was never concerned about the 6'7", 217-pounder, right? His struggles. He said, "I think I said this to you guys before. I love him. I don't worry about him. He works extremely hard. He really worked on his shooting. He goes out there and he tries extremely hard on defense every time. He's not perfect, but he's a really good developing young player that I love. If he has a bad game, it doesn't faze me because I love him." Right? Now, I get the love stuff, but also, bro, you did bench him a couple games. so let's keep it 100. But at the same time, it speaks a lot for Justin of the type of person he is, and everybody likes him. And you know what? He's a good dude. His mom was proud. Everybody was happy last night. Put it this way, it took the brother man a long time to get into the media. He took detours, dude.
Oh, did he?
It was like he was shaking hands, kissing babies, doing the whole nine.
Little victory lap, little banquet tour.
Lap. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have a cameraman with him walking around seeing them dancing. You know what I mean? Go, that's Justin. Look, go, yeah. Justin. It was crazy.
There you go.
It took him forever. I'm talking about forever in a day, dude.
And didn't Justin Edwards, didn't he tell that story also? I thought he also told his side of the story. Like, yeah, Nick came up to me. He's come up to me at practice and be like, I got to tell you, I'm not worried about you. You're not worried. Like, you told the story from Nick's perspective. I think Justin Edwards reiterated that as well when he finally got to the media room. So good for him. Good for him now. Let's do the thing that you got to do after something like this, which is hopefully the Sixers won't need you to do it again. But maybe the Sixers can now rely on you to do it if they do need that, burst of energy and barrage of threes that you were able to rain down on the Boston Celtics. When we come back, I want to focus on a couple other things in that game, especially when it comes to Tyrese Maxey down the stretch, and also Kelly Oubre on Jaylen Brown down the stretch in that game. I want to get into that. And also, we got to talk about Joel Embiid, the day-to-day, and we also got to talk about Paul George and whether or not we did get good news yesterday on his status for making finally his season debut. Talk about that and more when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. Hey, how about FanDuel? You guys taking advantage of all FanDuel has to offer. Like right now, new customers getting $300 in bonus bets with FanDuel. The NBA is back, and no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you miss a start of a game, for instance, on FanDuel, though, you can ride a hot hand on FanDuel with live bets. And also live bets as the game unfolds right in front of your very eyes. You can also bet on who will score next, fourth quarter comebacks, all that and so much more on FanDuel. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps the game exciting no matter what, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets. That's $300 in bonus bets if you hit your first $5 bet on FanDuel. Send to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your FanDuel game with FanDuel. Head to FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Now it's time to tell you about Bilt. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well earn a little something extra for it. That's where Bilt comes in, B-I-L-T. Bilt is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards you can actually use. When you pay rent with Bilt, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and so much more. But Bilt isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. I love using Bilt. It's the easiest way to do things, and you get a little something extra for your rent payment. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbilt, joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA, and make sure you use the link so they know that we sent you at joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. So one more thing we heard about the Sixers and their win over the Celtics last night, Keith. Jaylen Brown really, the entire Celtics team struggled mightily in that first half. They were 4 for 21, I believe, from beyond the arc. Jaylen Brown, I think, had 4 points at the half. He exploded as part of a huge third quarter push. But then in the fourth quarter, Kelly Oubre shut it down on Jaylen Brown. And also Andre Drummond and Kelly Oubre were stalwarts when it came to that final play with 8.7 seconds left, I think it was, when the Celtics got the ball back. Oubre D'd up Brown. Drummond D'd up Derek White beyond the arc. White ended up losing it. I think Drummond got a hand on it, and then they hoisted the prayer. That second half, especially that fourth quarter performance by Kelly Oubre defensively, is something that I don't think enough people are going to focus on after a win like that.
It's great that you pointed that out because he's been doing that a lot. Like, it's funny. Like, we all keep, and don't get me wrong, VJ Edgecombe is playing, he's been struggling, but they got him guarding like elite players. But the thing about Kelly Oubre, Kelly has been guarding the opposing team best perimeter player for more often than not. And if he's not guarding him, exclusively, he gets switched on to him from time to time in games, right? So to me, that's why I keep saying, I know that everybody's saying, well, we like trending, we do this, we like that. And I keep telling people, nah, you got to go with Kelly. Because when you look at Jaylen Brown, like you said in that fourth quarter, he was 1 for 3. He only got off 3 shots and it was a 3-pointer. And the crazy part about that is that 3-pointer, I believe, came against it didn't come against Kelly, it came against somebody else. It might have been Trendon. I'm not 100% sure. But it was like it was one of those things where, Kelly kind of shut him down. Like they denied him. They did a lot of other things on him. And so Kelly's been playing well. And then you look at it in that third quarter, and I take that back. Trendon was guarding him sometimes in the third. I mean, this guy had 21 points after 3 quarters because of what he basically did in that third, right? So I don't know. Like Kelly, to me, that has been the best kept secret about his game this year has been defense, because we all see the putback dunk, we see a lot of other things, but his defense has been phenomenal.
Yeah, I loved what he was able to do in that fourth quarter. I want to make sure I have that number right on Brown. I'm sorry, Jaylen Brown, not 4. He had 7 points on 1 for 7 shooting from the floor at halftime. That's what Jaylen Brown had. And he ended up having 7 points or 14 points in the third quarter. And then I guess when Kelly Oubre was back on him for the majority of the fourth quarter, he only had 4 points down the stretch. So that's a pretty, or excuse me, 3 points down the stretch.
Yeah,
so that's a pretty solid run.
Shooting. Yeah.
That's a pretty solid run defensively, of course.
Look at Derek White. Derek White went 1 for 6 in that quarter too. That's crazy.
So before the game, Keith, we get a nice little scare, I'll call it that, from Joel Embiid. A moment that I think some people certainly weren't looking forward to by any means, but I think a lot of people, when they watch Joel Embiid, they do wait for the shoe to drop, so to speak. We see him against the Raptors last Saturday actually run the floor at something that looked like close to 100% pace. We see, I think, his best game since we'd seen him back when they needed him to score. I mean, hey, he came up with 29 points, needed him to move defensively. He was moving defensively, again, running the floor. Then we find out about the knee soreness, and he's going to miss yesterday's game against the Celtics. Then I'll fast forward to the end. I know you were in there. You were asking Nick Nurse these questions as well. No structural damage. He's day-to-day. Just as far as Joel Embiid goes, what do you know about his status for maybe Friday? What do you know about his status in general when it comes to that?
Yeah, they're saying just day-to-day. So, like, when they start saying stuff like that, to me, it's kind of like you said, it might have been a scare, but it was kind of weird how it went down because, Joel was listed as available to play in the game. And then all of a sudden, early afternoon, like he's out. And Nick basically, was asked about it. And he was like, look, we had a shoot around today. Obviously a day off yesterday, because they're coming off a back-to-back. So they had the day off on Monday. He said he just reported a little soreness in the right knee. He had some imaging on it this afternoon, and the doctors are here tonight to go over that with him. So it's kind of like when you say it's not like they saw him do anything. He reported it. You know what I mean? So it's like, wow. But then, like we said, no structural damage, because I asked him, I said, is this going to be one of those things where you look at it and do you sense that he could be out for an extended period of time? And when they came back and said no day-to-day, I think what it is it's basically going to be, you're going to have a couple days. You got today is Wednesday, then you have Thursday, so you have 2 more days off, and you're basically going to see how he feels on Friday, and then take it from there. But I guess it's a blessing. The only thing is, to me, when we talk about this, is there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes down to Joel Embiid, especially with his injuries, right? I mean, at first we're up here saying, okay, it's going to be the left knee. We understand it. He's going to have at least 2 days off. He's not going to play in back-to-backs. He's going to play on a minutes restriction, right? But now you're saying like, hey, now they're talking about the right knee. What's going to be next? And it reminds you of him being an injury-prone player, getting these freak injuries, and he gets hurt. Now, it could be some overcompensation, right, which happens, that he did suffer a hard fall in that game that he played when he played against the Raptors. And it could have been one of those things where, his knee was out of sorts because of that. But to me, it's one of those things where, there's always something in the back where Joel Embiid is a future Hall of Famer, but Joel Embiid just had a great game, but Joel Embiid did this, but, so, and there's a reason why the Enquirer has a story on the website that basically keeps up with his injuries, like every day. So to me,
is Joel Embiid injured?
Yeah, Joel Embiid injured. Yeah. That one. So right. So,
or is he playing? Is he playing? Yeah.
Or is he playing? Sometimes I feel bad for the guy because I'm like, yo, we doing this to him. But at the same time, it's one of those things where that's just how it is. And this was a reminder of that yesterday.
Here's another thing that scared me about it. It was a national game. It was an NBC game. NBC on NBA or NBA on NBC is back. You got to hear Round Ball Rock going into the game last night. It was awesome. Yeah. Marv Albert did the intro. I know I'm watching the game from home. You're there, but it was great. It was awesome. But of course, the new contract, the TV money, all that. I was a little surprised when I saw that in particular he was going to be missing this game. I went, don't like that. So that's why it was a little bit more of an extra sigh of relief when I heard no structural damage day to day. Now, just as far as to wrap it up on Joel Embiid, what's your gut tell you about the Pistons game on Friday? Do you think he's up and running for that game?
That's a weird one because there's going to be a lot of physicality in that game. Like those dudes they're going to want to push him off the spot, this and that, the whole nine. So I feel like if his knee isn't 100%, he probably may not play. Like you would think he would play. Let's keep it 100. Like, dude, you didn't play since Saturday. This is going to be Friday. You know what I mean? So like that's a long time to not
give me 20 minutes. Give me 20.
Just give me those 20 minutes. Just give me those 20. And then after that, you got a couple more days off. So like, I would think that he would play. I would think that he would. But if the knee is still sore or something like that, he may decide, hey, let me take this one off. But you would think that he would play. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a physical affair if he does play. They're going to be banging on him left and right.
All right, fair enough. All right. By the way, yes, is Joel Embiid injured? That is on Inquirer.com right now, and that's just a running story with Inquirer.com. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the news surrounding Paul George and what to get out of it. Doctor's basically looking for a little bit more strength in that knee. We'll talk to you about it when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. Now it's time to tell you about Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile. Save yourself some money with your wireless provider. How about that? If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no, as in no contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. So do like many have done and say yes to making the switch to getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it so simple. All the plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same numbers in contacts. You're going to absolutely love the same quality service you had before, but for a fraction of the price. So, ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch to Mint Mobile and mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. I missed the button. There we are. Hi, Keith. When it comes to Paul George, I saw you put it out there after the game. They're looking for that knee to be a little bit stronger, but he's getting reevaluated again this week. So where are we at with Paul George?
Yeah, that one sounds a little weird to me, but I understand it. And meaning like you wanted to get stronger, but you're going to reevaluate him this week. But so does that mean like they're just going to do a checkup this week? Because if you wanted to get it stronger, does it only take 2 days to get it stronger? Like, you know what I'm saying? But
yes.
But the weird thing is, and believe me, y'all, I'm telling everybody that's listening to this podcast or watching the podcast, my daughter messed up her knee last year, so I know a whole lot about knee injuries and recovery. And part of the thing is what they do is, when you come back, a lot of times they want to make sure that your knee is stronger and everything around it, your glutes, not your quads, all that other stuff is strong, because if not, what can happen is if you come back too soon, you can basically re-injure it. So they want to make sure that it's strong. So all that stuff that you hear is real. And it's not like, oh, it's just a BS to keep them out. My question is like, okay, well, today is Wednesday. They play a game on Friday. And, leg days, I don't think you want to do leg days 3 days in a row. You don't want to do on Tuesday. You don't want to do on Wednesday. You do on Thursday. You say, okay, PG, now you're going to jump on Friday, right? It normally doesn't work that way. So to me, it's one of those things where, did you notice beforehand that it had to get stronger, right? Or is this a thing that you're just going to reevaluate him on Friday and maybe he'll come back next week? Because to me, it just seems like if he comes back and plays on Friday, it seems kind of rushed. If you did actually get the evaluation last night, you know what I'm saying?
Premature. Yeah, it seemed premature.
Yeah. It seems kind of like, okay, we're gonna take a quick shake or something. We're not working out. We're just gonna do a speed thing. It just seems kind of rushed, premature.
It was like hurry up and wait. It was like I was like reading the report. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, Paul George again. Oh, he's still going to get reevaluated. Like I was hoping the next the most optimistic is he plays Friday. I was waiting for something like that, and it was just like, all right, everyone, just to let you know, Paul George has been evaluated, and we're going to wait for it stronger. He's going to reevaluate it this week. Okay, well, is then the assumption he's going to get reevaluated and then play Friday, or is he going to get reevaluated and then it's going to be another week or two? I'm glad we finally the Sixers at least acknowledged, hey, Paul George is on the team, by the way, and here's his status, because we haven't heard anything about him in a while. And then to get the kind of tease of a story like that was weird. No. I'm just saying, to get a tease of a story like that was kind of weird.
But here's the thing that really gets me, though, that I'm a little confused by. Did he have a setback? Because my thing is, this dude, you remember they were saying during the preseason that, oh yeah, Paul George was cleared for practice. Oh yeah, Paul George has been doing 5-on-5. And then oh yeah, he's been a full participant at practice. This has been going on for a month now, right?
Yeah.
So then you have Jared McCain, who basically just took the cast off, and then he's practicing a couple times, and then he's on the court. So to me, it's if you're saying he's not, okay, another thing with my daughter is she does a lot of jumping and stuff like that, a lot of lateral movement. Well, they want to get her strength up in that leg before she does that stuff. Now, she can just jump up and down and do stuff, but laterally, they want to get the strength up before she can do that. But this guy, you're telling me, he been scrimmaging, doing 5-on-5. But now you're saying you got to get the strength up. So was there a setback? And if not, it just seemed like this, yes, this is something that doctors say, but why are they saying it now and not before he did all this other stuff? So although they're giving us stuff, I don't know if, I shouldn't say lack of transparency, but it just raises a lot of questions. You know what I mean? It just raises questions. Absolutely. The dude was out there balling. You telling us he was locking people down on D. His D was phenomenal. And when defense, that's reactionary. So there's a lot, you know what I mean? When you're dribbling the ball, you could go a straight line, get a layup or whatever. But defense, you have to react. You got to move laterally. You got to do a lot of different things. So the question is, was there a setback? And if not, then why are the doctors looking at this now and not before he did 5-on-5?
Yeah, you can't coddle your knee on defense. You got to react to what the offensive player is doing, obviously. So, all right, well, I guess we just wait until Friday. Hey, Paul George is available. Or Thursday, hey, Paul George was reevaluated. We hope to have him back next week. Like, I guess that's the outcome we're looking for after all this. Just to take a glance at the chat real quick, see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Wednesday, just like that. Joel Embiid was held out of the first Pistons game. He didn't play in that one. Thank you 3 times. He played in the Raptors game the day before. Here we go. Do you make Kelly Oubre? This is from Peter. Do you make Kelly Oubre in the you put him in the 6-man role when PG comes back? What do you do with Oubre in that situation?
Nah, I gotta start Oubre. I gotta start him.
I agree.
Especially we gotta see what PG is gonna look like when he comes back. Look at everybody thought Jared McCain was gonna come out guns a-blazing. So evidently it takes a little adjustment phase. We just talked about Kelly Oubre locking down Jaylen Brown in the fourth quarter.
Yes,
you don't want to take that off the bench. We're talking about the dude locked down an all NBA type player, like not type player. He is an all NBA player. Dude, 2 years ago, he had the richest contract in the history of the league. You don't sit that on the bench. A player like that, lock that down. You don't sit him on the bench.
All right, we'll see if we get some more news because, later in the week, Keith, could be later today. So we hope we hear something about Paul George in the very near future. Keith Pompey, Inquirer.com. Make sure you guys are reading them right there. Marc Farzetta, Locked On Sports Network. We appreciate you guys joining us for this edition of Locked On 76ers. Hey, by the way, like and subscribe to Locked On 76ers. That'd be real nice of you, especially now that Locked On Podcast Network is the #1 podcast network out there. So enjoy. And also, don't forget about Josh Lloyd as he hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast on Locked On Fantasy Basketball. You get your daily tips. You help you win your league and also make you the smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if I didn't mention it, that's the #1 podcast network. So like and subscribe. Your team every day. For Keith Pompey, I'm Marc Farzetta. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Peace.